Hey YouTubers, what is going on? Thank you for stopping by. I hope this video finds you well. If you're new here, my name is JC and this is the Cuban Redneck DIY channel. Today I want to share with you guys a recipe or my take on hamburger steak. This is often known as a TV dinner Salisbury steak. Down here in the South, we more often than not call it hamburger steak. Some people call it meatloaf steak. Pretty much the same thing. With people of Hispanic background, this is a recipe that has, could be a little bit off-putting, and a lot of it has to do that some of the older recipes understand that this goes back to the Civil War and was actually invented by a doctor, Dr. Salisbury. Created this to treat intestinal issues. Perhaps that's why the negative association with the recipe. But some of the older recipes have a little bit overdosing on the Worcestershire sauce. I've kind of tamed that down and tweaked out the recipe. In fact, recently we got rained out. This is what the weather brought us on a Sunday. And you know what they say, if they give you lemons, learn to make lemonade. So I had a bunch of people in here and say, hey, I'm going to make Salisbury steak. And everybody's like, ooh, what? Well, guess what? Everybody loved it. There were no patties left. In fact, I was asked to make a video and share this recipe. So check this out. As with any ground beef dish, quality is important. I'm starting with 1 pound of grass-fed 85% lean ground beef. After breaking it up with a fork, I added a mixture of dry spices and a broken up beef bouillon cube. If you watch my channel, you know I like letting meats absorb the seasoning. So I'm going to put this in the fridge for about 30 minutes, but an hour is even better. I'm then going to add a half a chopped onion and a half a cup of breadcrumbs. We're then going to take 2 eggs along with a tablespoon of spiced mustard and a pinch of Worcestershire sauce, about a half a teaspoon, and add it to the mixture. Combine everything together until what can be considered a meatloaf mix. Place a piece of wax paper into a cutting board or plate and form 8-ounce patties. I recommend letting this guy sit in the freezer for about 5 minutes to set. While we wait, we can bring some oil and a tablespoon of butter to temperature in a dip skillet or saucepan. Once the oil is hot, let's go ahead and sear these guys, just like if they were hamburgers. However, we are not going to cook them through, we just want to give them some color. And then remove them so that we can get started with the mushroom and the onions for the sauce. We're going to cook this for about 10 minutes or until they're soft. We're then going to add the garlic and the tomato paste and cook for an additional minute or so. I normally don't buy or stock tomato paste, so I defer to my favorite option, sun-dried tomato pesto. While that cooks, let's dissolve a tablespoon of cornstarch into a little bit of water. I was a little short on beef stock, so I decided to add some red wine and give the sauce a little bit of body. That is not part of the recipe and resulted in a don't do that again moment. We can now add another splash of Worcestershire sauce, once again about a half a teaspoon, along with a half and half mixture of water and beef broth. Bring that to the boil, add the patties back to the skillet, make sure they're covered with sauce, cover it, lower the heat to medium-low, and cook for about 10 minutes or until the sauce has thickened. Turn off the heat and let it sit in the pot for another 5 minutes with the cover on. A few minutes after, here's what we have. If the notion of Salisbury steak TV dinner turns you off, give this recipe a try. I think you may find it appealing. Thank you for watching, and I look forward to bringing you a new recipe next week.